Ancient secrets unearthed again. Stunning treasure trove unearthed in ancient Egyptian tomb rewrites history. Archaeologists in Egypt have made a groundbreaking discovery beneath the sands of Tanis, unearthing a remarkable treasure trove inside what appears to be the long-lost royal tomb of pharaoh Shoshenq III. The find 225 exquisitely crafted funerary figurines arranged in a mysterious ceremonial pattern has stunned experts and is prompting a major reassessment of burial practices during Egypt's third intermediate period. Now let's go deeper and see what's really cooking in this story on the AI podcast.
Okay, imagine this. You're stepping into the dark of a huge, ancient royal tomb deep under the Egyptian desert. And you're expecting, the glorious final resting place of a pharaoh. But as your light hits the stone, you see the main sarcophagus is empty.
Completely empty, no body.
Nothing. But the chamber itself isn't empty. All around that silent, empty coffin is this trove of 225 just exquisitely crafted figurines.
And they're arranged in this flawless, almost mesmerizing star-like pattern.
It's just a mind-bending scene.
Yeah.
And it's the reality of a recent discovery in Tanis, Egypt. It's a find that on one hand solves a huge mystery about a pharaoh's intended tomb.
But on the other, it makes the real enigma why he never made it there even deeper.
So this deep dive is for you, the learner. We're going to cut through all the complex sources to really get at the turmoil, the surprising rituals, and maybe the political failures of Egypt's third intermediate period.
Yeah.
Our mission is to figure out why Pharaoh Shoshenq III built this incredible monument to his own accents.
It's a profound statement, isn't it, that the ancient Egyptians left behind?
Okay, let's unpack this.
You have this perfectly preserved funeral ritual, everything in place, except for the one thing that should be there.
The king himself.
The king himself. The artistry, the precision of the artifacts, it all confirms the plan. But the political reality of that time, well, it clearly forced a very different outcome.
So let's ground ourselves in this scene. We're talking about Tanis, an ancient city famous for the Temple of Amun. This find wasn't just some random hole in the sand.
Not at all. No, this is an existing limestone tomb complex. It's actually been known to Egyptologists since 1939.
Right, when Pierre Montet first uncovered it.
Exactly. Montet, who made some incredible finds there, he actually discovered the huge granite sarcophagus of Osirkon II right nearby.
So this whole area was already known as a royal cemetery for the 22nd dynasty. The key to this new discovery was just digging a little bit further.
Precisely. The find wasn't in Montet's main chambers. It was in a newly excavated side chamber, one of 4 in the complex. And when they broke through, they found something completely undisturbed since, the 9th century BC?
And what they found were these 225 figurines, or ujamtis.
Right.
For anyone who doesn't know, these are often called answerers or servant figurines. The idea was they'd come alive in the afterlife to do work for the deceased.
Yeah, essentially taking the pharaoh's place in any mandatory labor. But these weren't just tossed in a corner.
Yeah.
The arrangement is the first, just astonishing piece of this puzzle. The sources describe them laid out in this intricate star formation.
In perfect horizontal rows, all surrounding that big, unnamed sarcophagus. This wasn't some rushed secondary burial. This was intentional, a major royal ritual.
Meticulous. And that star pattern, it's so critically important. It speaks directly to the cosmic beliefs of Egyptian royalty. The star links the king to the eternal cycle of the heavens.
To rebirth.
To rebirth, exactly.
Yeah.
Represented by those circumpolar stars that never set. So arranging the servant figures like this isn't just decoration. It's a kind of spiritual guarantee that their service is eternally effective.
And we know for sure it was for Shoshenq III.
Yes, the Ushaptis themselves provided the proof. They have the royal symbols that are clearly associated with him, which finally resolves this decades-long debate about where he was meant to be buried.
And it's just extraordinary that this specific arrangement survived. I mean, this was the first undisturbed find of figurines in a royal Tanis tomb in almost 80 years.
Yeah, we often forget how incredibly difficult it is to retrieve artifacts this old.
The sources really highlighted the team's commitment here, which I think speaks volumes.
It really does. I mean, think about the conditions. They worked day and night for 10 days straight in a confined space.
This wasn't quick work.
No, not at all. They were meticulously documenting and recovering every single one of those 225 fragile objects, without disturbing their original placement. They were treating the arrangement itself as the most sacred artifact.
A frozen moment in time.
Exactly, a frozen ritual from 800 BC. That commitment tells you that for the priests who finished this tomb, the precise ritual structure was more important than anything else.
Even more important than the body.
It seems so.
So they were documenting a ritual that became the only answer. That effort tells us that the officials believed this specific configuration was absolutely necessary for Shoshenq III's afterlife, whether his physical body was there or not.
And that gets us right to the heart of the problem.
Right. We've confirmed the location, we've confirmed the ritual, but we've also confirmed the most baffling part of the find. The pharaoh himself was never delivered.
Shoshenq III is absent. And to understand why a pharaoh who ruled for nearly 40 years, from 800 and 791 BC, would build such a magnificent tomb and then be missing from it, you have to look at the politics of the time.
And the French Egyptologist, Frédéric Perraudot, really points to the chaos of the era as the main culprit. We should probably unpack the Third Intermediate Period a little.
It's essential context, yeah. This was not the stable, unified Egypt of, say, the New Kingdom. The Third Intermediate Period was defined by just radical political fragmentation.
So Shoshenq III is ruling from Tanis in Lower Egypt.
Right, he's part of the 22nd Libyan dynasty. But at the same time, there's a civil war raging. You have multiple competing power centers, rival pharaohs, powerful high priests claiming authority in Upper Egypt, especially in Thebes.
So the state is constantly on the verge of collapse, or is actually at war with itself. That sounds like a recipe for funerary disruption.
It's a guaranteed recipe. When a pharaoh dies, it's his successor's job to complete the burial rites. But if that succession is contested, if there's a war at the gates, if the treasury is empty from conflict,
then the will, or even the ability, to honor the dead pharaoh's plans just evaporates.
It evaporates. The sources are clear. You can build your tomb, but there is zero guarantee your successor will be able or even want to see your plan through.
So the theory is the body just never made the journey to Tanis. Or maybe it was buried somewhere else in secret because of a crisis right after his death.
It's the dominant theory, yes. Political instability prevented the official burial. But, there's always the possibility of looting in antiquity.
But that raises a great point. If the tomb was just raided by looters, why would they take the body and leave behind 225 beautifully made royal figurines?
Exactly. By their very nature, they're valuable artifacts.
Right.
That's the tension in this discovery. Your typical tomb robbers, they're looking for gold, for jewelry, for things they can easily sell. The body might have some of those things on it, but they almost certainly would have just swept up all 225 Ushaptis.
So the fact that the figures were left behind, and not just left behind, but left in that perfect star formation.
It strongly argues against a typical robbery.
So it smells less like theft and more like, I don't know, a political usurpation or a necessary substitution.
It absolutely suggests a complicated political failure. The thinking is the ritual was completed to ensure Shoshenq's spiritual journey, but his physical burial was blocked, maybe by a rival claimant to the throne who refused to allow the body into the chamber.
So the priests, knowing the spiritual stakes, they just finished the ceremony with the artifacts as a proxy for the king.
Precisely. And that idea of a spiritual proxy brings us to the second, equally baffling part of this find.
The composition of the figures themselves.
Yes. This is where you can really see the ritual being adapted on the fly. For a royal burial in this period, the Ushaptis were, overwhelmingly male. They represented the laborers needed for big projects in the afterlife.
But the sources say that in this cache, more than half of the 225 figurines are female.
Which is a radical departure from the norm for a pharaoh's burial.
That's not a minor detail.
No, it's a huge shift. The traditional composition reflected the male-dominated labor force serving the king. This sudden, significant shift towards female figures, it hints at some previously unknown rituals adapted for this fractured time.
So what could that signify? Why make such a non-traditional choice, especially under so much political pressure?
Well, if you look at the roles women often held, they were associated with domestic organization, preparing food and textiles, and crucially in funerary rituals as mourners, maintaining the household of the deceased. So one interpretation is that if the physical burial was known to be compromised, the ritual's focus shifted. Instead of stressing external labor-like fieldwork, the emphasis might have moved to the internal needs of the deceased.
Spiritual maintenance, comfort.
Exactly. Symbolic sustenance in a chaotic afterlife. The female figures might represent a unique spiritual substitution designed to make sure the pharaoh's eternal home was secure, even if his body wasn't.
That makes the whole find a direct artifact of political instability itself. It's a snapshot of a royal court trying a spiritual Hail Mary. The scale of this is just historic. I mean, given centuries of looting, sources stress that finds like this are almost unheard of.
They absolutely are. We have to remember that during periods like this, just knowing where a royal tomb was located could be weaponized by rivals.
Or sold to looters. Royal tombs were the #1 target.
Always. So in that context, this discovery is almost singular, apart from the almost mythical discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922.
Which was completely untouched.
Completely untouched. Apart from that, no similar intact cache of royal funerary figurines on this scale has ever been recorded.
So to put that in perspective, the sheer quantity and the perfect preservation of that star formation puts this in the most elite category of Egyptian archaeology.
It really does. It gives us a level of detail about funerary traditions during the 22nd dynasty that, before this, we could only guess at. And that detail is why its eventual display in a museum will be so important. It's this crystal clear window into the beliefs and adaptive rituals of a very complicated era.
It's real history you can almost touch.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this discovery just illuminates a forgotten chapter of Egyptian history, a time when power was so fluid that even a pharaoh's right to a proper burial was, well, negotiable.
It shows that even the most sacred plans could be thwarted by instability the moment a ruler died.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean? We've learned the political vulnerabilities of this period were so severe they could disrupt the core function of kingship, the journey to the afterlife. The absence of the king forced the priest to perform this elaborate, adapted ritual.
A proxy burial.
A proxy burial, yeah. With this careful cosmic arrangement of Ushaptis, including that highly unusual number of female figures focused on spiritual care.
And this dramatically shows how vulnerable the funerary plans of even powerful rulers were to political upheaval. The elaborate placement of those figurines, that precise star formation, it suggests a desperate but highly formal attempt to complete the burial ritual without the one essential element. The body. It was their way of ensuring the king's soul made it, even if his remains did not.
It's the ultimate backup plan for the afterlife, carried out flawlessly even if the king wasn't there to receive it. It confirms the political failure while documenting this ultimate religious commitment.
Indeed. It forces us to reconsider what success even meant for a royal burial during such a chaotic time. So, a question for you to mull over. If a treasure trove, comparable in scale to Tutankhamun's, confirms a pharaoh's intention but not his physical resting place, does this trove of servant figures represent a successful spiritual burial? Or is it merely a magnificent monument to a decisive political failure that robbed a king of his final journey?
Okay, one question for you. What does the high number of female figurines reveal about the funerary rituals during the third intermediate period? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.